This is Matches for Pro Boxing Fans. I'm Black, joined once again by Adam Smith. Adam, I think I see you more than my own family at this point now. But another amazing night of boxing. Let's just run through the card. Obviously, let's go straight to the main event. I mean, it was the homecoming in Liverpool, and the heartbreaker breaks the Liverpudlian fans' hearts. Just a breakdown of the full fight, first of all.
A great fight, a great night, a fantastic occasion. Liverpool, as it always is, it's a wonderful fight city. I thoroughly enjoyed the whole sort of DAZN coverage. Brad Strand, I thought, boxed really well. Shooter got a good knockout. Andrew Cain coming back from the jaws. How he did that. 2 body shots. It looked like it was over, and I think another 15 seconds and it would have been. How he came back and won about a minute and a half later was extraordinary. Jack Turner, I love watching. He's just box office. He's just... you can't take your eyes off him, the power that he possesses as a super flyweight. And I think that the main event was always going to be a really tough, close, grueling affair. The two of them have got those styles that gelled, and it was always going to be exciting. I think you could go maybe in the early rounds with Nick's better quality. Brandon Figueroa came back with body shots. He was relentless. And I think Manny Robles was key in the corner. I think after 8 rounds, he said, right, this is the championship rounds, how much do you want it? And that's when Brandon sort of came on. I think people were split around ringside, everyone had it fairly close, one way to Nick, one way to Brandon. I thought Brandon maybe was edging it, but it didn't matter. The judges' cards are irrelevant when you do that at the beginning of the 12th round. I think it was a mixture of Figueroa's tenacity, great shot, and also Nick's sort of exhaustion. He was breathing a little heavier than normal. I think he's had a long, hard run as a world featherweight champion, and tonight Brandon just wouldn't be denied. He came over, he obviously trained incredibly hard, and I just thought he had a look in his eye and a bit of extra maybe physical presence after 8-9 rounds, and it's fine margins. And as gutted as the Liverpool fans are for Nick Ball, and Nick will be devastated in the morning, and he doesn't need to be. He lost an elite fight to a really good opponent, and Brandon's lost a couple of times himself, and maybe sometimes fighters need to go through that heartache to rebuild and come again. It's part of the sport. He's had a brilliant run, Nick Ball, and I know there's going to be people gutted for him, but he's got Paul Stevenson and Brad and Andrew and all the guys around him, and he'll be back. They win and lose together, and that's what boxing's about. Peter McGrail had that tough defeat out in Monaco where I thought he boxed really well, and Nick boxed well tonight. There's no disgrace at all. He lost his world featherweight crown against a two-weight champion who gets it back again. It's what boxing's about, and the thrills and spills and the agony and ecstasy that we love, and we had it all tonight.
You touched on the scorecards, and I spoke to Ade a couple of minutes ago, and he said that apparently two of the judges did have Figueroa up. I mean, in the media section, it was very split, which I know obviously the emotions, it takes you out of it, but to you, did you have Figueroa up in the 12th round?
Yeah, I thought he was just in front. I mean, I think the boys were sort of siding more to Nick in the early rounds, like 3-1. I think I had it sort of 2-2. Look, I mean, I probably have to go back and watch it all again. Some of those rounds were really, really close. The CompuBox stats were showing the quality of Nick and the volume of Brandon, but I thought Brandon's body shots were pretty good, and I think there was times in the rounds where he just did that little bit more down the stretch of rounds in the back end. So I had Brandon probably in a slight lead going into the 12th round, but look, I wouldn't have grumble either way. It was a very, very close, hard-fought fight, but ultimately it doesn't matter. I think one judge had Nick 5 up, which I didn't see. Others had Brandon 3 or 4 up. So it was one of those where it's what you liked. I remember turning to Spencer Oliver after about 9 or 10 rounds, and he had Brandon 1 up. I think our guys had it more to Nick, but it was one of those, and I just felt Brandon was winning it down the championship rounds, and it was getting harder for Nick. And anyway, it's all irrelevant because Brandon Figueroa wins with a 12th round stoppage. It was a shame about the emotions at the end, and it just just shadowed, because he should have his moment there, but maybe it was that Nick just needed a little bit of medical treatment, and I don't quite know what was going on there. But I know that Manny celebrated with Andy Ruiz when AJ was stopped in the garden, and this was another of his great wins, and you've got to be happy, and I'm afraid it's the winning and losing that happened. Health and safety of the fighter, of course, and it was an exhausting knockout, down twice Nick, and he couldn't carry on, and he so wanted to, so he obviously had to have that, the doctors in there to look at him. But it's just high emotions at that time, and Brandon's a good guy. Both Brandon and Manny we've spoken to, and they apologised for anything that they didn't mean anything. It was just they were celebrating a win, and that's that. And it's a great win for Figueroa. I mean, the first time out of America, the underdog coming into the Lion's Den. Take your hat off to him. He wanted it. Maybe that little tiny fine margin bit more tonight, and he got the victory. What a night though. The drama of boxing.
Definitely. You mentioned Andrew Cain, and I want to talk about your partner on The Voice of Boxing, Andy. Obviously, I was sat next to him. The reaction, I think it was the same with everyone, but I will say, watch his reaction back on the DAZN broadcast. It's brilliant. But no one expected that, did they? And there was a feeling of, oh dear, this may have gone wrong, and then he pulled it back.
How can you expect it? Down twice to body shots, just about getting back to his corner. And I think Dev asked afterwards what happened in that minute with Paul Stevenson, and he was saying that he had too much food after the weigh-in, etc. But he was caught by body shots, and he was probably 15 seconds away from not being allowed to continue. But somehow he shook it off, and he came back and he targeted the head, and we know he's got power, and boy, he needed it. What a turnaround. I mean, that's one of the most extraordinary 3 or 4 minutes of boxing you can have until the last round of the Nick Ball fight. So, look, the Liverpool fans didn't get all the results they wanted tonight, but they got value for money in bucket loads. It was a great night, and yeah, look, Britain cheers for Josh Kelly last week, a new world champion, and lose one tonight, but it couldn't have gone to a better guy in Brandon Figueroa, somebody who's dusted himself down. He's moved from his father training him to Manny Robles. I know he does a lot to help the kids out in Texas and stuff, and yeah, he's a worthy world champion, Brandon Figueroa, and it was lovely what he said about Nick Ball afterwards. Nick will be back. Of course he will. He's got the whole city of Liverpool behind him. He's got Jack Turner, all the boys in his gym. Yeah, they're going to be massive nights on Merseyside again, and I love a comeback story, and I can't wait to see Nick's.
Definitely. I just spoke to Figueroa, and during the interview, Bruce Carrington tweeted, "Me and Figueroa 2026," and Figueroa said, "That's the fight to make." I mean, to you, what a fight that would be.
Yeah, I love Bruce Carrington. I think he's a fantastic fighter. He's a throwback. He's a really, really talented boy. Maybe the best in the division. I mean, Brandon would argue, and there's a whole heap of others that would, but yeah, some fantastic matches to make. So I'd love to see that fight. I'd also like to see a rematch with Nick Ball, and Nick will get another opportunity. He deserves that, whether it'll be at featherweight, maybe he moves up. Obviously he's only 5'2", so let's see what he does weight-wise, but that's up to Paul and the team, and Frank and George are the masters of bringing fighters back, and he's got a great promotional team around him, great management, great trainers. Nick Ball will fly again for this city, but let him enjoy Anfield. Let him go to the City game tomorrow or watch it on telly. And look, if there's anything I say to Nick, is you've been an absolute pleasure to be around in the last few years. You've been phenomenal, not only for Liverpool boxing, but for British and world boxing. He's never in a dull fight. He gives everything he's got, and it just wasn't to be tonight. He'll be back. And for Brandon Figueroa, what a win. Yes, he broke some hearts tonight, but yeah, listen, he made his own dreams come true, and a world champion again. And sometimes you just got to say well done, and that's what Nick, I'm sure, will do when the dust is settled.
Definitely. And Adam, just before I let you go, I saw Maurizio Solomon describe Zuffa and Dana White's launch into boxing as aggressive, and he wasn't best pleased, but he did say he's not worried in any way, shape or form for the traditional structure of the governing bodies and the traditional side of boxing. Adi said he should be worried. Where do you lean on that?
Well, look, Zuffa Boxing are an interesting addition to the marketplace, aren't they, with the likes of Dana White and Nick Khan, and obviously His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh around them. You'd be surprised if they didn't succeed in some way, shape or form. The Jal Pattaya thing's interesting because, of course, he wants to unify belts, and they want to sort of take away the belts and have one champion. I understand how one champion could be acknowledged by the casual fans as, you're the best in that division, but also the opportunities of winning the WBC and the IBF and the WBA and the WBO have got all the history. It's important to young fighters first two, and it also gives 4 opportunities in each weight division. And yeah, I'm sure Nick will tell you what the WBA belt meant to him, and Brandon will say what it means to him to take it back. So yeah, it's a difficult one. It's really hard. I think that there's a place in boxing for lots of different things. More eyeballs on the sport, more platforms. I'm on DAZN, the home of boxing, which is fantastic. We've got so much happening, but I think it's great that Sky are back in business. Wonderful Easter Sunday night they've got to look forward to with Caroline and Terry. Fantastic for the females. Wonderful. You know, I'm very close to a lot of the women fighters, and I think it's brilliant that they get their platform again on Sky. Rumours that Zuffa will go on Sky as well, and it can only be good for the sport. We've got BBC involved too, Netflix showing the Tyson Fury fight. I think it's so good that so many people want to show boxing. Yeah, look, plenty happening on DAZN, the home of boxing, definitely, if you're a boxing fan. But good to have a lot of different competition. Interesting to see what will happen with Eddie and Dana and all of that. And I think it's, yeah, and the governing bodies and Zuffa, and throw Ed Pereira as well into the mix with this dream he's got, and YouTube, and look, they're all choosing boxing. Why not? It's the best sport in the world.
Definitely. And Adam, I'm really sorry, I've got one more. Deontay Wilder is the latest fighter to clash with Simon Jordan on a long list. I mean, just obviously you've seen Deontay, you've seen his emotions this week, how he is. Just is that just a clash in conversation, or is there more to it?
I don't clash with Deontay Wilder. He's a good friend of mine. He's helped me through a lot of my tough struggles over the years with my cancer. I'm really honoured to what Shelley Finkel said. I was a little embarrassed at the press conference. That was really sweet of what he said, and you know that there's more to life than sport broadcasting and boxing. But yeah, look, Deontay Wilder is going to say what he believes. Simon is going to say what he believes. He's an incredibly good broadcaster. I love working with Simon Jordan. So yeah, look, Deontay was in a mood one way or a mood another way. I think he was wanting a cup of tea with Simon Jordan about an hour and a half later, and having fish and chips with Derek. So you never know what fighters are which way they're going to swing. They're going to say what they believe. Apparently it was fireworks in the TalkSport studio. I wasn't in that day, and it was a day I was not there. So Spencer Oliver told me all about it. But yeah, it looked like it was interesting telly, and yeah, it's all fun and games. And what we're going to get is a cracking, swashbuckling heavyweight clash between two of the best cult characters in the last 15-20 years. I can't believe they haven't fought already, but we're going to see it April the 4th, and no one can predict that one. So bring it on.
Well, Adam, thank you very much.